So, today we're diving into a short story called Lipstick Girl. And what's so cool about it is how it takes a real-world psychological tool for handling panic attacks and weaves it into this incredible story about grief, anxiety, and, surprisingly, human connection. Let's break down how the author pulls it off.
Wow, I mean, the story just throws you right in with this gut punch of a line. It sets the entire tone right from the start. It's a stark reminder that grief isn't just about the person who's gone, right? It's about the deep, messy, and totally disorienting impact it has on the people who have to keep living. And that's exactly where our main character finds himself.
And that brings us to Drake. He's a high school football player. And as he steps onto the field, all the grief he's been trying to carry since his dad died, it just boils over. And what we're about to see is this raw, almost uncomfortably realistic depiction of a full-blown panic attack.
So, how does it start? It's this sudden, shocking moment. Drake looks up into the stands, where his dad always was, and for the first time, he's not there. And that one empty space just creates this vacuum inside him. All of a sudden, something as simple as breathing feels completely impossible. He's totally adrift.
And the way the story describes this, it's just so intense, so physical. This isn't just a feeling in his head. It's a violent, physical sensation. His heart isn't just racing. It feels like some animal is trying to claw its way right out of his throat. This is that moment where he feels like he's losing all control.
And then you get these brilliant details that just perfectly illustrate the sensory overload. His vision starts to tunnel. He gets that metallic taste of pennies in his mouth, which is a super common symptom of extreme anxiety. He is completely disconnected from reality, trapped in this storm of chaos. He's pretty much convinced he's gonna die right there on the field.
But just as Drake hits rock bottom, someone just appears out of nowhere. A mysterious girl who, instead of freaking out herself, offers him a lifeline. And this, right here, is the turning point of the whole story, where we get introduced to a real and really powerful psychological tool.
Now notice what she doesn't do. She doesn't ask what's wrong. She doesn't offer any empty platitudes. She just calmly, confidently tells him exactly what's happening to him and gives him one simple, direct command. That confidence, that clarity, it just cuts right through his panic and gives him the one thing he needs, an instruction to follow.
So what is she actually having him do? It's a real thing called the 5-4-3-2-1 grounding technique. It's a mindfulness exercise that's used all the time to manage anxiety. The whole idea is to interrupt your brain's anxious spiral by forcing it, literally forcing it, to focus on the concrete reality of your 5 senses, right here, right now.
And the method is super straightforward. You just work your way down the senses. 5 things you can see, then 4 things you can touch, 3 you can hear, and so on. It's a really simple, structured way to pull your mind out of that abstract chaos of anxiety and just anchor it back in the present moment.
Okay, so that's the theory. Let's see how this actually plays out in the story. We're going to walk through each step of the exercise right along with Drake. And I want you to pay close attention to how his focus dramatically shifts from his own internal pain to the person standing right in front of him.
All right. Step 1, sight. She tells him to name 5 things he can see. This is the very beginning of pulling his awareness out of his own spiraling head and back into the world. And boom, right here. This is the critical pivot. He starts with the easy stuff, the impersonal, the grass, his own cleats. But then his focus lands on her. And that little observation about her eyes and her lipstick, even with a bit of sass, it's the first sign that the real Drake, the one buried under all that grief, is starting to poke his head out. So now that his sight is a bit more grounded, she moves him on to the sense of touch. And this step, it requires a more direct physical interaction with his environment, which makes the whole experience feel even more real.
And you see that same pattern again, right? He starts with his surroundings, the wall, the grass, and his own jersey. But that fourth thing, he reaches out and touches her. Suddenly, the exercise isn't just about grounding himself anymore. It's becoming an act of connection.
All right, next up, the sense of hearing. His awareness is continuing to expand, and now he has to parse all the sounds around him to actually separate them from the roaring panic inside his own head.
Okay, this is so important. He hears her voice, and he hears the pond nearby, but he's also able to name his own pounding heart without being controlled by it. He can now observe his anxiety as just one sound among many, instead of it being the only thing he can hear. That's a huge shift.
And you can feel the exercise getting more and more intimate as it goes on. The sense of smell requires real closeness, bringing them even nearer to each other and demanding a much deeper level of focus from him.
At this point, his anxiety is pretty much gone. It's been replaced by this intense curiosity about her. He pulls her close, he notices the smell of her hair and her skin. He even sees what might be scars on her arms, which hints that his empathy is coming back online. He's no longer thinking about his pain, he's starting to wonder about hers.
And that brings us to the final, culminating step of this whole thing. Acknowledging one thing he can taste. It's the most personal sense, and it's the one that completes this wild journey from total chaos to real connection.
And this is where the whole thing just completely transforms. What started as this desperate clinical technique to stop a panic attack ends in a kiss. The simple act of grounding himself in his five senses has led him, step by methodical step, to this profound moment of human connection that shatters his isolation. So what's the end result of this intense, maybe 5-minute encounter? Well, it's not just that his panic attack is over. It's much bigger than that. His entire perspective, his whole outlook on his life, has been fundamentally rewired. I mean, just look at this comparison. It lays out the change so perfectly. Before he met her, his mind was just filled with these huge, overwhelming, permanent problems. But after meeting Lipstick Girl, his focus shifts to a brand new problem, finding her. And that's a temporary, solvable, and, most importantly, a forward-looking challenge.
And this final line just nails it. Think about it. He's gone from being this kid totally trapped by his past to someone who is suddenly genuinely excited about the future, even for something as boring as pre-calc on a Monday morning. He has a purpose again. He actually has hope. And so the story leaves us with this really powerful question. It suggests that while grief and anxiety can absolutely trap us in the past, maybe connection really is the antidote. It works because it pulls us out of our own heads. It gives our pain a witness, and sometimes all it takes is one person reaching out, offering a simple, grounding presence to give us a reason to look forward again.